Tudor introduced a number of new watches during the Watches and Wonders. We had the chronographs in the previous video, and it is now time to go silver with this new Black Bay 58-925. So they now have gold, silver and bronze watches, the latter in 43mm. But which one will really take the first place? Let's find out. In the past, brands used either steel, gold, titanium or platinum for wristwatches, or a combination of those materials. A number of brands started experimenting with new alloys. And I'm not talking about PVD or DLC treatments, but about brands that started to properly experiment with new materials like ceramics, forged carbon. Those are high-tech materials, for example. Then there are brands using sapphire for their cases, and Genta was very early with using bronze watches. Panerai is a brand that also is on the forefront of using and trying new materials, and Omega, Hublot and Rolex have their own gold alloys. But silver? Silver was often used for pocket watches, and very occasionally a brand used sterling silver for a wristwatch. In the 90s you had this brand called Robert Leighton, and they used silver cases. You had Van der Bouwwede and Cartier, they also had silver cases for their wristwatches. And after a while, these watches would turn black or will tarnish at least, as silver things do. But this Tudor Black Bay 58-925 is different. Despite being made of sterling silver, it will retain its color. So in case you don't know, 925 refers to 92.5%. It's an alloy with 7.5% of something else combined. It can include copper, zinc or nickel. It varies. Clearly, Tudor has put something in the mix that makes their sterling silver very stable and won't tarnish. Not in a million years, according to them. What Tudor puts in the mix is not disclosed, and I have no idea other than some brands put palladium in the alloy for maintaining the colors over time. The case, bezel, crown and buckle are made of silver on this Tudor 58-925. Here are the boring specifications of this watch, in case you don't know them already, as this Black Bay 58 isn't a new model, except for the material and dial color. The case diameter is 39mm, thickness is 12.7 and the lug to lug is 47mm. The weight of this watch on this fabric strap is 90 grams. The watch wears amazingly well on the wrist. I am not a fan of the fabric strap, as it is a bit floppy, especially with the relatively heavy case, and the material is a bit rough. But I also have to admit, once on the wrist it actually is okay, and it looks good with the taupe color of the dial and bezel. I would go for the leather strap option though. Inside this watch is caliber MT5400. An in-house movement with chronometer certification, where COSC, the organization that certifies movements, has a requirement where the accuracy should be between -4 and +6 seconds per day on average. Tudor made it a bit tougher on themselves by using a -2 and +4 seconds per day on average standard. The power reserve on this watch is 70 hours, like the other Tudor models with this movement family. Interesting is that Tudor proudly said, "Yes, we did it," when announcing this watch will have a see-through case back. It sounded a bit awkward, and even in the additional information we received from Tudor, they indicated it is the first diver's watch with a transparent caseback. Let's just hope they meant it is the first Tudor diver's watch with a transparent caseback. If you buy this Tudor Black Bay 58-925 with fabric strap, you need to remove it first, otherwise you can't see the movement anyway. But if you do, you will see the caliber 5400. It is in fact a 5402 with a different base plate for visual pleasure, because the 5402 had a ring around the movement, some kind of movement holder, and that wouldn't look nice. So they changed it with a new, larger base plate. The movement is signed Tudor and indicates it uses 27 jewels. And looking at the movement, I am not entirely sure why they want to use a transparent caseback. It doesn't have some kind of special finishing or decoration that other brands are proud to show. But hey, if you like to look at mechanical movements and don't care about the level of finishing or decoration, it is a nice feature to have. The backside of the watch also indicates the serial number of the watch and has some silver hallmarks. So, what do I think of this watch? I definitely like the taupe dial and bezel color. It really stands out compared to all the black, blue and green dials we are seeing these days. The snowflake hand is often discussed in combination with the round hour markers, but that wouldn't be a deal breaker for me. I also like the fact that it is a time-only watch. I don't need a date. I see the date in the morning when I look at my iPhone and I can remember it for the rest of the day. But this watch is mainly about the silver, and I have to say that I really like it. The color is quite different from steel, more white you could say, especially with all these brushed surfaces. I like it better than the 80 karat gold version that they introduced, and normally I am a sucker for gold. And the bronze we've seen quite a bit, so perhaps it is a bit out of the ordinary, but Tudor's silver Black Bay takes the first place for me. This watch wears nicely on the wrist, but as said, I would put it on a leather strap. What I don't particularly fancy is the transparent caseback. I tried to wrap my head around why Tudor wanted to do this, but I can't figure it out. I think there are nicer movements to show. Perhaps I would have found it more logical thing to do with their chronograph watches. At least there you could also see some action when using the chronograph. But I'm also of the opinion that if you decide to use a transparent caseback, you need to make sure the movement is nicely decorated and finished. Otherwise, just keep it closed. Again, no deal breaker for me, it's just a remark. The 58925 has a nice domed sapphire crystal that gives it this vintage inspired look. And last but not least, this watch has a price of €4,080 or $4,300. The price is the same for either the fabric strap or the leather strap option. Tudor gives a 5-year warranty on the Black Bay 58925, which I feel more brands should do, rather than the 2 years of mandatory warranty, at least for EU countries. Thanks for watching this video. Let me know what you think of this Black Bay 58925 in the comments, and make sure to subscribe to our channel and hit the notification bell. Bye.